Welcome back students to chapter 8, How do organisms reproduce? Part 3, Sexual reproduction in plants. Reproductive part of a flowering plant is the flower. Flowers are considered to be modified shoot. Flower has two parts, essential parts which consist of stamen and pistil and non-essential part consisting of sepal and petal. Now let us discuss about parts of a flower. First part, calyx, which forms the outermost whorl, corolla, which is the second whorl, androecium, which forms the third whorl, and gynoecium, which forms the fourth whorl. Calyx is also known as sepals, outermost whorl, usually green in color, function, protects the floral whorls in the bud stage. Corolla, next whorl after calyx, also called petals, may be white or brightly colored. Function, attract insects towards the flower, helps in pollination, protects the inner parts. Androecium, also called stamen. Each stamen consists of a filament and an anther. Each anther has pollen sacs. Pollen sac contains pollen grains. Pollen grains contain male gamete. So androecium is the male part of the flower. Gynoecium, also called pistil or carpel, consists of three parts. Solen basal part called ovary, narrow stalk-like middle part called style, disc-like sticky tip called stigma. It is the female part of the flower. Ovary may be divided into chambers. The chambers contain ovules. Each ovule has an egg cell, which is the female gamete. So here you can see the parts of flower. Outermost sepal, inner colored petal, androecium, which consists of anther and filament, gynoecium, which is made up of ovary, style and stigma. Floral parts are organized in circles called whorls. So this is the floral diagram. In this floral diagram you can see all the parts are arranged in circles. So these circles are known as whorls. Types of flower. There are two types of flower, unisexual flowers and bisexual flowers. In unisexual flower, either male or female sex organs are present. Example, watermelon, cucumber and papaya. In bisexual flowers, both sex organs are present, that is stamen and pistil both will be present. Example, hibiscus, pea plant and mustard. These are some examples of unisexual flowers. Cornflower, cucumber flower, papaya flower, and this is the female flower and this is male flower. So male flower and female flower will be different because only one sex organ will be present in the flower. That's why it is known as unisexual flower. Uni means one. These are bisexual flowers. Example, hibiscus, pea plant and mustard. In this, both stamen and pistil will be present. Next, moving on to pollination. Transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma is called pollination. There are two types of pollination, self-pollination and cross-pollination. In self-pollination, transfer of pollen grains takes place between flowers of the same plant. It can be between the same flower or different flower on the same plant. Example, hibiscus and pea. Cross-pollination, transfer of pollen grains takes place between flowers of different plants. Example, apple and pumpkins. So here is a diagram showing self-pollination. In the first diagram, pollination is taking place between anther and stigma of the same flower. In the second figure, you can see there are two flowers involved, but it is the same plant. So transfer of pollen grains take place between anther and stigma of different flowers of the same plant. So these are examples for self-pollination. In cross-pollination, different plants are involved. So here is a flow chart. Pollination is of two types, self-pollination and cross-pollination. Cross-pollination is also known as xenogamy. Self-pollination are of two types. One is same flower, which is known as autogamy. Same plant and different flower, which is known as dichoteny. Cross-pollination takes place with the help of pollinating agents. Pollinating agents can be abiotic or biotic. Abiotic examples are wind and water. Wind pollination is known as anemophily and water pollination is known as hydrophily. Biotic, there are lots of examples of biotic pollinating agents like snails, insects, birds, bats and vertebrates. Agents of pollination. Pollinating agents are also called pollinators. They are agents which help in pollination. They can be biotic agents or abiotic agents. Flowers have special adaptation according to their agents of pollination. Let us see some special adaptations. First is hydrophily. It is a mode of pollination or transfer of pollen grains through the agency of water. Example, Zostera vallisneria. Characters, flowers are very small. Nectar and odor are absent. Pollen grains are light and unvegetable due to presence of mucilage cover. Stigma is long, sticky but unvegetable. So these are the characters of flowers whose pollination is done by water. Anemophily, it is a mode of cross-pollination or transfer of pollen grains through the agency of wind. Example, coconut palm, date palm, maize, many grasses. Characteristics, the flowers are colorless, odorless and nectarless. Pollen grains are light, small and winged or dusty. Dry, smooth, non-sticky and unvegetable. Stigma is hairy, feathery or branched to catch the wind-borne pollen grains. Pollen grains are produced in very large number. Next example, insect pollinated plants. Pollen is sticky or spiky to stick to the insect's body. Petals are brightly colored and scented to attract insects. Stamens are inside the flower so that insects will brush past them and pick up pollen. Stigma is sticky so that when insects brush past, the pollen sticks to it. Sticky sweet nectar to attract insects. So these are the characteristics of insect pollinated plants. So each flower has its character according to the pollinator. Now moving on to process of sexual reproduction. The entire process of sexual reproduction can be divided into three phases. First one, pre-fertilization phase. Second one, fertilization phase, and the last one, post-fertilization phase. First, we will be discussing about pre-fertilization phase. This phase involves the formation of male and female gamete, followed by bringing the male gamete to the site of fertilization. Formation of gamete is called gametogenesis. Transfer of pollen grain is called pollination. First, we will discuss about gametogenesis of male gametophyte. Pollen grains is also known as male gametophyte. Pollen itself is not the male gamete. Each pollen grains contain two cells. One is vegetative cell, also known as non-reproductive cell, and generative cell, also known as reproductive cell. The vegetative cell produces pollen tube nuclei, while the generative cells produces two male nuclei. Pollen tube cell germinate only if it falls on compatible stigma. So here you can see the pollen grain. It is binucleate. One nucleus is known as tube nucleus. The other nucleus is the generative nucleus. The generative nucleus give rise to two male gametes, while the tube nucleus give rise to the pollen tube. Pollen tube. Pollen tube cells produces pollen tube when pollen grains reach the stigma. Pollen tube rapidly descends down the length of the style and reaches ovary. It enters the ovary and reaches the ovule and then ruptures, releasing the two male gametes. Function of pollen tube. Pollen tube helps to transport male gametes to the ovary. After pollination, the pollen grains reaches the stigma. After it reaches the stigma, pollen tube starts forming. Pollen tube contains two male gametes along with tube nucleus. The pollen tube takes the two male gametes to the ovule. Now about ovule or the female gametophyte. Female gametophyte is also known as embryo sac. It develops inside the ovule. It has 7-celled and 8 nucleated structure, with 3 cells in one corner and 3 cells in the opposite corner and 1 cell with 2 nuclei in the center. The center cell is called polar nuclei. The egg is in the middle of 3 cells in one corner. Egg cell is the female gamete. So here is a diagram of embryo sac. It consists of total of 7 cells, 3 in one corner, 3 in the opposite corner and 1 in the center. The center cell has 2 nuclei and this is known as the polar nuclei. Now about fertilization. Male gametes are 2 in number. One male nuclei fuses with the egg cell, which is known as fertilization or syngamy. Other male nuclei fuses with the polar nuclei. That process is known as triple fusion. As 2 fusion or fertilization is taking place, this is called double fertilization. So in angiosperms, double fertilization take place. So here in this diagram you can see the pollen tubes are growing and it is entering into the embryo sac. After entering, one sperm nucleus will fuse with the egg, resulting in fertilization and formation of zygote, while the other sperm nucleus fuses with the polar nuclei, which is known as triple fusion. Fertilization results in the formation of zygote, that is diploid. Triple fusion results in the formation of endosperm, that is triploid. Zygote develops into embryo, which forms the new plantlets. Endosperms contain the reserve food required for development of embryo. The zygote divides repeatedly to form the embryo in the ovule. Embryo possesses a small root called radicle, a young shoot called plumule and cotyledons to store food. The plant embryo and the endosperms go on to develop into a seed. So here you can see the diagram of endosperm and embryo. This is the structure of an embryo where there are 2 cotyledons, plumule and radicle. Radicle is the young root and plumule is the young shoot. Cotyledons provide nutrients to the developing embryo. Now about changes taking place in the flower after fertilization, or this is the post-fertilization phase. After fertilization, ovary develops into fruit, ovary wall develops into fruit wall, ovules develop into seed, ovule wall develop into seed coat, sepals in some fruit sepal persist, while stamen, style, petal and stigma degenerate and fall off after fertilization. Structure of seed. Seed has outer seed coat, which are two in number, testa and tegmen, cotyledon, which is also known as seed leaf, which contain reserve food, embryo, which contains radicle and plumule. Other two parts are epicotyle and hypocotyle. Epicotyle is the region of embryo below the plumule, and hypocotyle is the region of embryo above the radicle. So here you can see the seed and monocot seed and dicot seed. In monocot, only one cotyledon is present. In dicot, two cotyledons are present. Seed coat is having two covers, testa and tegmen. Embryo consists of plumule, radicle, and in between epicotyle and hypocotyle. Epicotyle is the region below the plumule and hypocotyle is the region coming above radicle. Germination. Germination is the process of development of a new plant from the seed. Conditions required for germination: water, air and optimum temperature. Types of germination. There are two types of germination: epigeal germination and hypogeal germination. In epigeal germination, the hypocotyle elongates and moves upwards. This pulls the cotyledon above the soil. Example: common bean, sunflower, cucumber, watermelon. In hypogeal germination, the epicotyle elongates and the cotyledons remain below the soil. Example: green peas, horse gram, green gram, maize, mango, coconut. Here you can see the diagram of both types of germination, epigeal and hypogeal. In epigeal, you can see the cotyledon is coming outside the soil and hypocotyle region is developing faster. In hypogeal germination, epicotyle will develop faster, so the cotyledon remains under the soil, only the shoot part comes out of the soil. So here we can discuss about life cycle of angiosperms. Angiosperms are flowering plants. So flowers will have both male part and the female part. Male gamete is present in the anther. Anther contains the pollen grains. Ovary contains ovules. After pollination, the pollen grains reaches the stigma. The pollen tube is formed. Pollen tube takes the male gamete to the ovary. Inside the ovary we have the ovule. The male gametes enters the ovule. Fertilization takes place. Embryo is formed and embryo develops into seedling, and this process continues. So this is the life cycle of angiosperms. So everything starts with a mature plant which produces flower. After many process, a fruit is formed, and from fruit a new plant is formed because fruit contains the seeds which develop into the new plant. Plants in which calyx persists even after fertilization. Examples are brinjal, strawberry and tomato. Now about importance of seed formation. There are 3 points coming under seed formation. Seed contains the future plants of embryo. What is the importance of that? New plants are produced. Second importance, seeds get dispersed to new areas. There are 2 main important points coming under this. Species can colonize new areas and this helps to protect plants from extinction. Third importance of seed formation is seeds are produced in large number, and this helps in multiplication of plants, and also it helps to bring out variation. Development of fruit without fertilization is called parthenocarpy. Fruit resembles and normally produce fruit but without seeds. Example: pineapple, banana, grape, orange and cucumber. Now coming to the advantages and disadvantages of self-pollination. Advantages: less energy is required, occur without pollinator, less chance of failure of pollination. Disadvantages: no genetic variation, no evolution, less resistant to disease. Now advantages and disadvantages of cross-pollination. First, talking about advantages: genetic recombination, more resistant, more seeds are produced and more yield is produced. Disadvantages: produce pollen grains in large number, factor of chance, less economical, undesirable characters may come in the offspring. Now, difference between self-pollination and cross-pollination. First one, self-pollination is also known as autogamy, while cross-pollination is also known as allogamy or xenogamy. No agents required in self-pollination, while cross-pollination requires agents. Male and female part mature at the same time in self-pollination, but in cross-pollination, male and female parts mature at different times. Self-pollination can occur even if the flower is closed, but for cross-pollination, the flower has to remain open. Offsprings can become weak in self-pollination, but in cross-pollination, offsprings are healthier. New variety is not possible in case of self-pollination, while in cross-pollination, new variety is possible. In self-pollination, parental characters are preserved, while in cross-pollination, entirely new character is formed. Here we come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching.